Hi there, micro cruisers, and welcome today to Karen, who's going to speak about Orient Express and the beautiful product that you have up in Myanmar or Burma, as you may know it. So let's start off firstly of all, the destination's opened up recently, hasn't it, to the general public? So tell us what they can expect.
Well, Myanmar's still such an authentic destination, and that's the most, I guess, apparent feature when you arrive that you see. For centuries it's been untouched, so people are still living in such a traditional way. People are living on farms with bullocks. They're living in such a way engaged with nature that we don't see in many other places. So being Burmese, a lot of the people who are there are Buddhists, so you'll see nuns and you'll see monks going about their daily activities. You'll also see, I guess, a colour in the destination and the landscape that is as well quite unique. And the rich soils and the greens of the foliage mixed in with the beautiful temples in Bagan, as well as in other parts of the country, including the gold tip temples in Mandalay, really give it unique characteristics as well. So I guess the environment, the people, everything about the destination is, I guess, significant in how you sell what it is Myanmar's all about. And then, of course, couple that up with what we're going to talk about a little bit today, and that's the Orient Express products up there.
So it is a bit of time forgotten, is
Absolutely.
the kind of country that they're expecting to go to. So take us through what it is Orient Express offers in the region.
That's great. Well, we've been in the area for 18 years, and 18 years is quite significant when we talk about a developing country.
Yeah.
So I guess we're excited that we've got a unique part of the market there with the hotel, the Governor's Residence, which is in Yangon, a beautiful 47-room property that is just like an oasis, and that's my interpretation of the experience when you arrive. And of course, and then we've got Road to Mandalay that we've also had in the region for some time and close to 18 years. And recently we've joined her with her sister ship Orkala, who started sailing in July of this year. So we've got the two luxury small ships, of course, married up with the hotel stays that we can offer.
Yes. I've heard that the Governor's Residence is a beautiful property. It is actually sat amongst all the other embassies,
Yes.
which is quite exciting, and it's a beautiful teak built hotel, and so you should definitely have a look at the images. They're just gorgeous.
Yes.
But I first want to start with the Road to Mandalay. So the gorgeous vessel that you've had all this 18 years going up and down the river, can you take us through what to expect with the Road to Mandalay, the vessel herself?
Well, to start with, it accommodates 82 guests. We've got 5 cabin categories, from single superior cabins right through to the higher cabin categories. So without going into too much detail on the cabins, we can accommodate single people in the single cabins as well as couples throughout the range of categories we've got there. Road to Mandalay really works, and the itinerary goes between Bagan and Mandalay with 3, 4, 7 and 11 night itineraries. So the week where we've got, the 3-night itinerary, the guests are going to experience Mandalay and Bagan, and for the 4 nights it's going to be Bagan and Mandalay. So you can combine the 3 and the 4-night tours as such to become a 7-night itinerary. So realistically, the ship in those 7 days goes down river and then back up river, or vice versa if they're doing it the other way around.
Okay, very good. And you, I as well want to go over the Orkala. She's an exciting vessel. She's very new. She's just come on board, and also she's a bit smaller than the Road to Mandalay.
That's right.
As well.
Orkala accommodates 50 guests, so we've got 25 spacious cabins. We have, I guess, slightly different appointments on board in saying that the ship has been more built toward, I guess, the destination as it goes, because it is a river system clearly that has different times and seasons, and because Orkala has the draft that allows her to go up river more, we have longer itineraries. So the itineraries are 7 and 11 nights.
Oh, okay.
And those 2 11-night itineraries actually focus more to the north and more to the northern borders of Myanmar.
Okay, so that's the difference, is the itineraries themselves. So the Orkala has a shorter draft, can therefore go to the smaller rivers and more upstream as well.
That's right.
That's the differences there. Excellent. So we talked about capacity, the different itineraries, and there are slight variations on the room categories as well.
That's right. So we start with Orkala, rather than the superiors being single and twin, we start with a deluxe cabin. So there's 25 cabins. It's a little bit more, I guess, space within those cabin categories. All of them have got floor to ceiling, excuse me, glass windows which you can open, slide open and have fresh air in the cabin as well. So it has a different look and feel to Road to Mandalay. But the experiences in the way of food, service and general excursions are going to be similar, because our team actually put together, I guess, a similar style of comfort and a similar style of experience with the service, and of course, like I said, the touring that they do when they're ashore.
And so there are similarities. Obviously, the dining is going to be a similar experience on both ships.
Well, we've got executive chefs on both vessels, and they do cater to, I guess, a market whereby you've got an influence of the Eastern and, of course, Western cuisine. So they have unique menus. Generally, they would be similar, but yeah, a little bit different to their own, I guess, kitchens. And that's all brought together with, again, the beautiful Burmese staff that we've got. So our service teams are predominantly Burmese, and
Wonderful.
they've been trained and they've been with us, a lot of them, since Road to Mandalay, and have either, you know, joined Orcala, or we've had some more come on in the last few months and were trained prior to Orcala sailing. So
Wonderful.
you'll get a consistent level of service
Services
between
across it.
two.
Wonderful. Now there is a bar on both as well.
Yes.
They both have bar, and I've heard they have a pianist especially.
That's right.
For everybody for their entertainment. That's pretty amazing.
Well, that's so true. I guess the bar is a place that people will meet prior to dinner, because dinner's generally served between 7 and 9 at night. So the bar's a place where our resident pianist is doing, I guess, his thing from late afternoon through to dinner and beyond dinner. So after dinner you can go back into the bar area and enjoy and be entertained and talk to other people as well. However, we've got quite a few things that happen in that bar area. Sometimes we're doing afternoon tea or morning tea. So it's utilised in different ways, different times of the day as well.
Gorgeous. And it's got an observation deck as well. They both have that, so you can enjoy the views and sit out there and enjoy the world going past your window or up on the observation deck. And so we talked a bit about the entertainment there. Now let's talk about the dress on board, because this is the question which the agents ask. They have their clients ask, what is the appropriate dress?
Well, we find that through the day, casual or smart casual is what people tend to wear. So we would call it potentially resort wear, particularly on board. Of course, when they're doing touring, it's appropriate to the area. So, of course, comfortable shoes and hats and all the things that come with that, sunglasses. But you'll find that on the deck, people are swimming, so they're wearing smart clothes up to the deck and potentially taking a swim. And then throughout the rest of the time on board, particularly in the evening, you find that dress does become a little bit, not so formal, but a little bit more formal than through the day. So gentlemen would wear a shirt and a long pant or trouser, and usually you would see a lot of the gents in the dining room, for instance, wearing a jacket of some description as well. It's not black tie and it's not formal, but it has an influence of, I guess, suit / jacket, and some will wear a tie, and ladies will wear, I just say, smart casual evening wear for meals at night.
Sure. So smart casual in general, but gentlemen tend to wear a jacket in the evening.
That's right, in the restaurant.
Okay, wonderful. The excursions, I was going to ask about these excursions that are on offer. Can you take us through just a few of those that the clients may expect?
Well, depending on the itinerary that they're doing, there's a number of onshore excursions, and you'll find they're predominantly 2 or 3 hours in time, each one. So we've got our own guides that are locally trained and really do, I guess, what they do so well, and that they have, so much, I guess, to talk about in the way of the history and different things at different times throughout the touring. So they'll disembark the ship, they'll go on small groups, or go out in small groups, I should say, on a small like in a minivan or a coach scenario, with their guide, and their guide is assigned to them for the duration of the tour. Wonderful. And the duration, I should say, of the itinerary. So they'll have the same person if they're on a 3 or a 7 day itinerary, for instance. And what we'll do is take, I guess, people to places of interest. So you've got, of course, the temples, you've got different things like in Mandalay, the gold leaf production, you've got different places of interest in the different areas. So it gives our guests, I guess, a taste of what it is in the touring and the destination. However, unless it's a longer itinerary, they tend to be out only for a few hours and then come back on board for lunch or afternoon tea, or, of course, in time to change and refresh for dinner.
So I want you to go through this wellness centre that you have on board and the treatments that are on offer for the guests.
Okay, well, we've got fully qualified beauticians and we've got masseurs, I should say, that are on board. So guests can book in to the wellness centre as such for a massage or a hair treatment, be it a shampoo and blow dry for a lady, or even a foot massage or a manicure. It's general. There's not every single service, but there's quite a substantial range of services to choose from. And of course we've got another little area that's attached to that, and that's our gym. A small gym of a couple of pieces of equipment. So for those that want to work off their lunch or dinner, that's a perfect place to be as well if you're not relaxing or doing something else.
If they find the time.
Exactly, there's so much to do.
I wanted to talk about the resident doctor that you have on board. He's obviously there for the concerns of the clients should they have any health worries, and that's really good and safety that you have that. But he does a little bit more than that, doesn't he?
That's right. Well, it's important to us that our guests' well-being and health is looked after if the need arises, and hence we have a doctor on board both Road to Mandalay and Orkala, which is fabulous. But yes, the doctor does a little bit more than general medical things in a day. He is involved in clinics in different regions of Myanmar, so we've been quite engaged with different, I guess, communities as a part of what we do in the region. So he's quite an interesting gentleman, particularly the one who's been with us for some time on Road to Mandalay. And we've also been quite involved over the years when there's been natural disasters. So guests actually hear about different scenarios whereby we have assisted the local communities, and the doctor does a lecture or two throughout the time on board. So guests choose to come and listen to what he's been doing in the community or what he's done in the past. It's a really interesting way to spend an hour or so to hear about what he's been up to.
Wonderful. And it gives another level to the experience when they can hear what has happened on the ground with the communities in the local area and see the results of that. So it's really wonderful. And the last thing I want to talk about on board the ship is the boutique. You've got a wee boutique there. What's on offer there?
Well, it's quite consistent with Orient Express Trains and Cruises, to be precise, because a boutique's a place where people can go and get little trinkets, be it pieces of jewellery or local art or lacquerware or whatever it be that they're interested in buying, that we've actually got in an area on board, which is, I guess, a place where people can go and buy gifts for their friends or their family or something for themselves that's unique in the way of the destination. However, there's also some staple things that are also always nice to see and buy, be it pieces of jewellery or rings or anything like that too.
Yeah.
There's quite
keep me away.
Quite a range.
I'll buy it all. So just talking about the travel professionals, how would they position the ship? How would you suggest they position it to their clients, both ships?
I think when you're selling Myanmar, because it is such a developing country still, we have got an opportunity for them to sell something in one through micro cruising. So for instance, with the governor's residence as an entry point into Yangon, we can fulfill accommodation there to start with. I personally would suggest at least 2 nights in Yangon to incorporate within the 2 nights a half-day sightseeing tour. We do the transfers, we do the touring, and of course we book the accommodation on behalf of our cruise guests. So from that stage on, I think it's all about how do you position which ship and which itinerary to your client. It's about understanding how long they want to be in Myanmar to start with, understanding whether they have certain interests and places within Myanmar, be it Bagan or Mandalay, and then looking at the itineraries and looking at how those itineraries fit that particular client. So with the range of itineraries we've got, say from the 3 nights on Road to Mandalay through to the 11 nights on both Road to Mandalay and Orkala, you can see which of those itineraries is best suited to each potential guest and position as such. A good thing I would also say is to your client is how flexible are they? Because sometimes it's just a matter of moving your itinerary around. We might do 1 night at the governor's residence, do an itinerary and then maybe come back for 2 nights at the end. So,
so
different things for different folks.
Wonderful. One thing I wanted to just point out, which we talked about before with the bar, is that alcohol isn't included in the price.
No.
That's one thing I wanted to just point out. And I wanted to talk as well about the seasons in Myanmar. Always we get the question, when's the best time? So what would you say to that?
Well, realistically, any time's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be high season, and is what we call high season, really between now, say November, and March. So what you've got is people who probably prefer the dry weather in that dry time of the year. However, then as we go through to the middle of the year, well, the calendar year being July, it's wetter.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, the temperatures do change a little bit throughout that time. They do become hotter around the July period.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it sort of goes from one extreme to the other, and it's a wetter season in July.
Mm-hmm.
So it is traditionally a monsoon region too. So where we have the longer itineraries with Road to Mandalay, they occur in the wetter time of the year.
Yeah.
So the water level being higher allows the ship absolutely to get upriver a
Great.
lot better than when it's not able to.
The and it's near the equator, so as a result, it's quite temperate all year
Exactly.
round. So you're looking about, was it 30 degrees?
In the maximum heat in July, it would be roughly, give or take. I mean, weather changes, but it can get to the hotter temperatures in the middle of the year.
Okay, great. So that's all we're going to talk about with Myanmar just now. I want to just touch on a float in France though. This is a wonderful product. There are 5 river barges in the most beautiful part of France, I think anyway. And I want you to just take us through an overview of the product there that you have on offer.
Well, we've got 5 luxury barges. We call them Peniche hotels, and my French isn't great, but that translates to small hotels. From a 2-cabin vessel, Alouette, through to our largest, which is Napoleon, that accommodates up to 12 guests. Mm-hmm. So the 3 smaller vessels have got, I guess, different appointments, and they're situated in different areas. So what we do is we package them up for a week. So guests move from Paris on a Sunday and are then taken by transfer to wherever the barge is positioned. And then at the end of the week on the Saturday, they go back to Paris. So the tariff is fully inclusive, and realistically it just depends on whether guests are looking to charter. So we've got Alouette that accommodates up to 4, we've got Fleur de Lys that accommodates up to 6, and we've got Amaryllis that accommodates up to 8 as charter vessels. And then the other 2 we can do as a charter are the Herondelle, which accommodates up to 8 guests, and Napoleon up to 12. They can be also booked as cabin only. So they're the 2 of the larger vessels that we can book in either a charter version or as, I guess, as a cabin basis. So quite unique and different, and lots of different itineraries within those areas that each and every one of those barges is located.
And so for the charter, it's absolutely up to the individuals there on the 4 or 6 vessel size vessels, so they can really choose where it is they want to go, if they are the cheese lovers or if they are the wine lovers or if they're the culture vultures. The choice is there for them to make. But even with the 8 and 12 passengers, I can imagine it is a lot of finding out what exactly the clients want and really tailoring it as much as they can to their needs.
Well, what happens is when our guests arrive on board on a Sunday, the crew meet them. And the crew are people who are going to be their guides, they're going to be their drivers, they're going to be their chef, they're going to be a range of different people over the week there together. So when we have guests arrive, there's usually a cocktail or champagne welcome, and guests go into one of the lounges and start to talk about their expectations in regard to what sort of food preferences they have and what sort of touring options or excursions they're interested in. And the crew really tailor-make a lot of the next 6 days to what the client's expectations are. So if someone has an interest in art, history, or food and wine, they'll try and incorporate as much of those elements as they possibly can in the 6 nights. One thing we do have to say is that the barge has to be in position at 6 p.m. at night. So realistically, every day there's a set itinerary as such as where the barge will be. But within the day, there's a lot of flexibility. So what we put together initially is what we would refer to as a suggested itinerary.
Suggest itinerary.
And there's that flexibility around
That's
what
wonderful.
we've got a minivan, we've got so much entertainment on board, and be it guests want to do a little or a lot, they have such a range of things to do, and of course the food and the wine that
Out
is
of this
incorporated into those experiences is just
Wonderful.
magic, apparently.
Excellent. I'm just going to go through the inclusions just so we're on top of it.
Great.
So private transfers from Paris on all departures, wonderful. So Paris to Paris, really good for our agents there. Luxury accommodation, gourmet food and wine and beverages, and does that include top level
Yes.
spirits as well? Okay. Daily excursions and entry fees and bicycles and tennis equipment. So
Yes.
they could literally bike along
Yes.
and meet the
Have so much fun.
vessel on the evening.
Exactly.
And the air conditioned minibus as well, which is good in the heart of summer in France. Onboard entertainment as well, so if they find the time, they've got stereos, books, games, DVD player, television,
Yes.
all of the above. There's a grand piano on Fleur de Lis.
So anyone
It's grand piano. That's amazing. So, is there anything else? Just finishing up with a Float in France product that you can, let our agents know about that's good for selling a sales technique or a sales point.
I think just to summarise, the itineraries are from Sunday to Saturday. There's 7 days, 6 nights. We have the only luxury barging in the area. So we have a unique range of 5 vessels that are actually the highest category of barges in the region that they're positioned. So they can be confident when they're selling to their high-end client or people that want something so absolutely fabulous and inclusive that they can be sure that they are getting exactly what that particular client needs in regard to the high-end product. The other thing is all the cabins are fully, I guess they've got so much comfort and they have en suites. So with full amenities, with everything done on board for them every day. So if they choose to get up for a leisurely breakfast or they want a cooked breakfast at a certain time, and then throughout the day we can do excursions which incorporate entry fees into different areas, and then we can take them to markets, we'll cater for their own food preferences. Of course, there's going to be plenty of cheese and wine and everything else that they want along the way. But at the end of the day, I think it's really about us ensuring that our guest gets the best time when they're there, and that the experience is really all about them being engaged in the destination. So the uniqueness of France married up together again with these gorgeous luxury barges, and of course everything done for you in that 7 days, and there's nothing better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how much fun, and you can relax or you can get quite active at the same time in a week.
Yeah.
So again, it's something that you can be confident in positioning for the 7 days.
And I think the word is suggested itineraries, which is
Yes.
wonderful. So it's an absolute selling point that it is down to the individuals as to what it is, generally what they want to do in the time that they have there and what their priorities are in the region. So that's a wonderful selling point.
The only other selling point, Nicola, that I could just say is that they are really popular, and they're only operational 7 months of the year, so really the summer months. So in saying that, if someone is interested or you do want to clearly book them, that you check the availability as well, because there's sometimes different days or different options that we might have to cross-sell them to based on the space. But the thing is, I say they're fabulous and they're exciting and they're unique and they're different, and they fit all the elements of what Orient Express are about. So
Exactly.
it's a lovely way, if you can, sell to your clients to experience France.
Get in there early, micro cruises. Is the key.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today.
No,
I really
thank you.
appreciate it. And any questions, Micro Cruises, please give us a call or email info@microcruising.com.au.